Many implementation laws under the Indigenous Peoples Basic Law are being drafted, and the Indigenous Land Sea Act is one of them. This bill is aimed to protect the territorial rights of the indigenous peoples. However, no consensus on the final draft of the bill has been reached. The Council of Indigenous Peoples has said it would actively push for the passage for the bill in the next legislative session.
The CIP said many enforcing regulations of Indigenous Peoples Basic Law drafted by the previous administration were in conflict with the interests of the Han Chinese people. One example is the Indigenous Land and Sea Act, which is aimed to protect the indigenous people's rights to their traditional territories. The lack of such enforcing regulations has often led to conflicts between the indigenous people and the government. The CIP is yet to present the finalized bill to the Legislative Yuan. Legislator Wu Yusin of the Interior Administration Committee said that the Legislative Yuan is waiting for the CIP to submit the final version of Indigenous Land and Sea Act. He said one indigenous legislator has his own version, but the Legislative Yuan is waiting for the finalized bill from the Executive Yuan so they can examine the two versions together in the next session. The CIP said it would make the Indigenous Land and Sea Act a priority in policy negotiations with legislators.
We
will be more active in negotiating with the Legislative Yuan. We'll discuss with them, see if they can make those laws and regulations as urgent. The current legislative session is closed on January 13th. Even if the laws are urgent in order to protect the indigenous people's basic rights, they will have to wait until the next session, which is scheduled to open in early February. TITV Weekly.